Hello and welcome to the corner. I'm the Frosted Glass. I'm joined by my fellow Albuster Savages. I like boobs.
Hello, I would like one plane ticket to Humpty Doo.
Jack is a vaudeville comedian today. Uh,
Today?
we have Moonshock.
I really need to go see Garrett now.
See, it's really him. All right. Terry Diametis.
I still say that Moonshock getting cancer was a terrible idea.
Yeah, he didn't think it through.
Well, you could have told me beforehand.
And this week's special guest, the One-Ton Hammer.
I wouldn't say special, unless you mean short bus version. That's... Hello, everybody.
So, how are you guys doing?
I'm well.
Not bad.
Yeah, doing all right.
I would like one plane ticket to Humpty Doo.
Yes, we were laughing at how ridiculous Australian town names are before we started.
In fairness, it's only the ones the Aborigines named.
I don't know. Humpty Doo sounds like it could have been made up by a regular person, like as a joke.
Yeah, that certainly sounds like a disgruntled Brit was involved.
So let's get to our first article, which I gotta say the headline took me by surprise, but it's not about what you think.
Okay.
The problem with trans people being above the law.
I'm on board already.
And this is by the same person who brought us the interview with the drone. The person who was friends with Ship, who can only say ship.
Oh, that wackadoo.
Yes, who can forget Ship? So here's a more recent article from her, I think. Forward. This is not an anti-trans post. If you clicked on this link looking for a justification or excuse for hatred or discriminating laws, then go fuck yourself.
Fuck me yourself, you coward.
Well, at least she acknowledges that part of the audience on Medium is there to make fun of her.
Yeah.
And if you do insist on challenging this post from an anti-trans perspective, please note that my neo-pronouns are capitalized, as in me, you, and they, instead of me, you, and they. If you're spewing anti-trans hate in a comment section associated with this post, be advised you will be reported if you knowingly misgender me, and I will try to have your account banned.
What a lovely person.
I was going to misgender you as me instead of me.
I would love talking to her and say, like, how are you doing? By the way, that was a lowercase u.
Yeah.
With the housekeeping out of the way, let's get on with the actual article. Cops are bad. Trans people overwhelmingly understand and agree with this fact. We don't trust the cops. We don't trust the government. And a lot of us don't want the government to have anything to do with our genders or our lives.
Wait, do I actually agree with them on something?
I agree. She's right. But
Yeah,
but they're not special. Cops are
No,
bad to everybody, not just trans people.
Yeah, agree until this individual stops being consistent.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right up until you get to the but.
I wonder if she agrees with herself.
Yeah.
It's a matter of personal safety. Closeted people don't want our true names getting out before we're in a position where we feel like we can deal with the fallout. And indeed,
Well, it depends if it's Fallout. If it's Fallout 76, then I agree. No one needs to deal with that.
yeah, I've heard bad things about it.
So have I.
And indeed, in the non-binary community, where people tend to be more radical in our views, it goes further. In the non-binary community, the tradition is to have 3 names. There's your dead name.
There are no traditions in the non-binary community. It's been around for like 2 seconds.
I know.
This is a tradition. It goes back all the way to last Tuesday.
Oh, you're behind the times. It's a new tradition. It goes back to this Monday.
Wait a minute.
There's your dead name, which your parents gave you and which you don't use. There's your legal name for when you first transitioned, which is typically a normal sounding name, appropriate for a work setting, usually binary sounding, and that's what you use at work, with the government and with people you don't necessarily trust to know your gender. Finally, there's your true name, which is something that is utterly you. It may be openly quite non-binary. It may speak to your otherkin or plural identity. It may be something overtly spiritual. It may not conform to typical grammar structures, and it may
None
have
of
a
this is
certain...
total bullshit.
Huh?
I'm getting this distinct feeling that it's like, oh well, what's your everyday use name? Oh, it's a Chip. Oh well, what's your spiritual name?
Oh no, it's retarded.
La Fatah Cthulhu. And just lightning starts going in the sky. And it may have a surname which isn't your biological family's. My true name is Vet. It's grammatically...
For which your family is probably very, very thankful at this point.
Anyway, my true name is Vat. It's grammatically unusual, having punctuation at the end, and it has little clues in it to the deeper truths of my spirituality and identity.
No, it doesn't.
It comes with a
It's a name, and all it does is show off how utterly sophomoric you are as a human being.
Well, I mean, it gives off some very, very major clues, actually, as to let's see, your spirituality and your identity. Both of them just happen to be retard.
Yeah, I was gonna say leftist, but that's the same thing.
my name.
Why is it?
No, don't insult retards by comparing them to leftists.
Yeah.
It's just virtue signaling. It's look at me,
Yeah.
look at me.
No, she wants a name where it always sounds like she's being interrupted.
Why is it that all of these people always have like these really sophomoric views on spirituality?
Because they understand that there is something missing in the core of their being, and they're trying to fill it artificially.
That's
The
what vibrators
retardedness of
are
this
for.
article is
Yeah.
rubbing off on Jack.
It comes with a surname, Grail, which I was not born with, and which is overtly religious. But I don't go to the bank as Vat Grail. I have a legal name, something much more normal, which nobody on the internet is allowed to know unless I trust them enough to literally marry them.
We'll never know.
Yeah, so nobody's ever gonna find out.
No.
It's Matt Jarbo.
There you go,
That's
doxing him.
That's the tradition in the non-binary community. Your legal name is a secret from your true life people, and remains relegated to the dull realm of meat space.
That is such a dumb term.
Not to be confused with meat spin,
Yes.
which is somehow less gay than meat space. It's the cybersecurity your boomer parents were telling you to practice back before Facebook convinced them to throw it all away. We keep using that cybersecurity because the stakes are higher for us. We don't want to be harassed or swatted or put on kiwi farms, or to have our employers called by people looking to settle a score. You lead two separate lives as a matter of potential life and death, and the one where you act like yourself isn't the one the cops know about, because cops are scary and bad.
Let's be real. If someone actually wanted to, they could easily dox this person. They're just too insignificant that no one's going to try. But this thing that they are scared of, that someone with a bone to pick is going to find their real identity, they can do that.
I'm
Okay,
just gonna.
let's. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
I'm gonna posit something here. The cops literally have no interest in this person whatsoever because
Of course
they're
not.
too stupid to do anything illegal.
Yeah. Well,
Also,
I mean, I think the average IQ of a prison is below 100. I think stupid people do commit crimes.
Oh, stupid people do commit crimes. I'm saying that she's stupider than that.
Oh, okay.
See,
that-
I was going through that. I'm like, okay, I do a certain amount of identity concealing and everything because my employer does get called by people looking to settle a score and deal with a grudge, and people have even occasionally shown up at the door because they get upset with a company or somebody in the company. You're not that special.
Yeah.
I had no idea you were non-binary, Moon.
Yeah.
What's your
No, I
true
work
name?
in customer service.
Also, I love that this article unironically said cops are scary and bad.
Yes.
Little problem, though. The law does kind of protect people sometimes. It's not the main
That's a
point.
problem?
It's not the main point of the law, not the main job of police, but it's what a lot of politicians and cops like to think the point of the law and the police is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've heard that the cops have no legal obligation to help anyone.
Yeah, no, the law does not prevent crime in any way, as far as I can tell.
You keep fading out, Jack.
Sorry, the law does not prevent crime in any way, as far as I can tell.
Of course not.
And the police have no obligation to stop a crime in progress that they're seeing.
There are laws that protect people from assault, from libel, from rape, from intimate partner abuse, and from a lot else. And
That is a-
sometimes,
That is a mischaracterization. It doesn't protect you from those things. It punishes the people that perpetrate them.
and sometimes those kinds of things happen. And if you're a part of the trans community and potentially in a T for T, trans for trans relationship, you suddenly realize the problem. Your partner is
You got
above
two
the law.
faggots in the same room. Yeah, it's a problem.
That too. Your partner is above the law.
I am above the law.
You may have been in a relationship for a long time. They may be the most important person in your world. You may have sworn wedding vows with them or engaged in a questionable ritual to bind your soul to them, speaking from experience here. And you don't know their legal name. Because you just don't do that in the trans community.
That's
So
weird.
if the relationship sours
You also
and
don't stay that committed.
I mean, there's a 41% chance that your partner will remove themselves from the relationship.
you marry someone without knowing their actual name.
That's insane.
Well, I mean, on the plus side, Terry, that 41% does slightly reduce their odds of divorce.
That is very true.
I would just like to point out that a name is used as an identifier. It is used by other people so that they can distinguish you from a crowd. Oh, that over there, he's Bill. And Bill is thus separated from everyone else in the room. If you do not share your name with anyone, you don't really understand the purpose of a name.
Well, I think they're saying that they share their bullshit name, like Vigrail or whatever the fuck it is. They'll tell their partner, "Hey, I'm Vigrail," but they won't tell them, "Hey, I'm Stephanie Smith" or whatever the fuck her real name is.
Or Matt Jarbo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she won't say, "Hi, I'm Matt Jarbo." She'll say,
Poor
"Hi, I'm
Matt.
Vigrail."
Because you just don't do that in the trans community. So if the relationship sours and rape, death threats, or abuse enter the picture, you're fucked.
So don't marry a tranny. I mean, that's just good advice, even without this problem.
Or before you get married, say, "What's your name?"
No. You can't force them to dead name. That would be unthinkable. So you just don't marry them.
No, this is the
Here's an
legal
i-
name. Remember, there are 3.
Yeah.
Here's an
okay.
idea. If you don't trust your partner enough, if you don't trust your potential spouse enough, I hate when people say partner, to actually tell them your name, maybe you shouldn't be getting married to them.
Nonsense.
Wait, what's your name?
How dare you?
Yeah. Well, no one will ever know my name. It is such a well-kept secret.
I just like to think of a trans couple, and like one of them's on their deathbed, and it's like, before you die, what's your name? Oh, the name's Adolf Hitler, actually. Uh, Trans people need to be above the law because the law is a
It's a
threat.
family name.
Trans
when-
people need to be above the law?
Yeah,
Is
because
that-
otherwise
oh
they'll get swatted or I don't know, shot by a cop or something. They'll be like, "Is that a bulge?" and then just start firing. Trans people need to be above the law because the law is a threat. But when you go to a lawyer and say you want to sue your ex for 2 years worth of therapy fees for the PTSD they gave you, the lawyer shrugs and says, "I need a legal name."
Can you really sue someone for that? That seems silly.
Also,
In the U.S., you can sue anybody for anything.
I mean, sure, but can you like realistically sue them and like have a non-zero chance of
I,
winning?
I suppose it depends what state you're in.
Yeah, there's almost, especially if you can get a jury involved, there's always a non-zero chance. About your only way against that is if your claim is so far out there that
Okay.
no judge is willing to sign off on it as possibly being penalizable as a matter of law.
Okay, put it this
But-
way: if your lawyer only got paid if they won the case, could you find a single lawyer to represent you?
Depends on your demographic.
Okay.
I just like the idea of going to a lawyer saying, "I want to sue this person. All right, what's their name? I'm not telling."
I mean, if the person making the complaints like black, gay, trans, and the person on the receiving end of the complaints like a white trans man, you might get somewhere with a lawyer, depending on the lawyer.
But if it's two white people happen to be trans, because this is talking about trans relationships, it's
California,
one
they'll try. Texas, they won't.
okay. So it's state by state, I guess.
In some countries, this isn't the case. I once received a threatening message from a Dutch person I barely knew, who knew my legal name and was threatening legal action over a minor grudge.
See, I told you, if someone wants to find out, they're going to find out. She didn't keep her real name a secret at all.
Well, that's just because
Hey,
the
I get
Dutch are
threatened with
crafty.
lawyers every month or two anyway, so I mean, what do I care?
The legal action wasn't scary, because I knew they had no case. Their complaint was absurd. But the fact they knew my legal name was terrifying, because you just don't do that. And my first instinct was strike first, establish a legal defense, get a restraining order. But I couldn't, because I didn't know their legal name, and you just don't do that. And the cops in my country couldn't help because apparently Dutch laws are a little better at holding trans people accountable than the ones here. That is so
Good on the
scary.
Dutch.
That is so scary. That unevenness in national laws means certain people can track down your legal name and potentially even dox you. That's not the tradition. They're not supposed to know that. You just don't do that. And in other countries, there's no way of defending yourself in the case of a legitimate legal grievance, because nobody knows your abuser's legal name. And even if they did, you just don't do that.
Honey, part of my job and prior job involved tracking people down to get deliveries to them. I could probably find your shoe size if I really had to.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like the information is available. If someone is willing to put in the time to find this person, they can.
So basically, dating trans people is like dating superheroes, but lamer.
Yeah.
Okay. The law does not apply equally to trans people. Not between trans and cis people. Not between binary people with social conforming names and NBs with weird religious names. Not between trans people living in different countries. Not between people who are brave with their identity and people who are closeted or feel more reserved. Many of us are above the law, and whether we get to be is not always under our own control. And what's the alternative to government justice? It's mob justice and back alley beatdowns. It's doxing, swatting, harassment, violence, libel, and whisper networks.
Well, surely swatting counts as government justice because you're getting the SWAT team involved, aren't they? Like government.
It's a government agency. Yep.
Yeah.
Also, how do you dox someone if you don't know their legal name? The
How do you
the,
spot them if you don't know their legal name and
Or their
residence?
address. Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation here. If you make a complaint in the United States to sue somebody, you're listed as the complainant under your legal name, so it's easy to track someone down.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. It's like if someone wants the information, they can find it.
it's
Well,
violence.
it's probably misinformation, that whole Dutch thing too, because if the person filed suit against them, that suit would have had to have had the complainant's name.
I think Dutch is a little different. I think they can have a formal representative, and you never get named.
Okay.
It's violence without restraint. The kind of violence cops can get away with and the rest of us can't. And the fact that when you take a step back and look at the trans community, you see that trans people are in as much danger from each other as we're in from the cops, there's no rationalizing that or believing it's somehow okay. It's bad.
Well, it is bad. I mean, the number one killer of trans people are trans people. You're not wrong.
I don't know if the solution is to expand the powers of the government or to ensure
It's not.
trans people or to ensure
it's never the
trans
answer.
or to ensure trans people continue to keep our anonymity. But the current system isn't working. People are being hurt so bad they want to commit suicide. We, the trans community, are killing each other.
Here's an idea. Have you tried not being a flake?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this much for this person. They wrote a solid first sentence, maybe even a first paragraph. I was with them when they said the government sucks, and then they kind of went off on all the trans bullshit. But no, solid opener for the article.
So the
I mean, even
cops-
voices a legitimate concern. I mean, the number one killer of trans people is trans people. The number two killer of trans people is trans people.
Yeah, I just
You don't get out of the community till number 3.
I would just like to point out that I solved the trans genocide just now, and nobody acknowledged it at all. All you
Because we
have to
like the
do is
trans
just
genocide.
not be a fucking flake. Trans genocide over.
Yeah, but the thing is, we like the trans genocide because the 41% statistic is extremely funny. And if that goes away,
Wait. Jack, didn't you see Freedom Tunes this week? I mean,
I must have missed that one.
your "Don't Be a Flake" thing ranks right up there with women not letting trans women in the locker room see them naked.
yeah.
Don't let me see you naked. You're gonna kill a gay kid.
Yeah, that was a great line.
that was a killer line.
So basically the point of this article is cops are too powerful, but also not powerful enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
All right.
I'm starting to think the Grail may not be the smartest person.
All right, and with the end
They're
of the
not the
first
smartest
article,
person in the special ed class.
Yeah.
they're not the smartest person with a dash in their name.
We're talking about the level of tried to eat library paste with a spoon and put their eye out accidentally instead.
Wait, is the Grail her actual name? I also just assume it's a her.
The Grail is the spiritual name, not the legal name and not the dead name.
No, the name is Va Grail.
Yeah.
VI dash Grail.
No, but it's just shit. I lost my thought.
Good one, Jack.
Well, I mean, that article could do that to you.
All right. Well, with the end of the first article comes the first game, and that is Sad Libs Double Prompt Edition.
Best game ever.
Second.
Okay, second best.
That's where-
DP.
And that's where I take 4 headlines from Medium, take out 2 words Madlib style. No, wait. Take out 2 words. You have to fill in those words Madlib style. The chat will vote on which one is best. So, Jack, I need a past tense transitive verb.
Thing is that my instinct is to say something like slapped because I was like if you slap someone with a dick, maybe that would be funny. But
I mean, it does fit.
Yeah.
The
It
word,
does
not your
fit.
dick.
Fine, let's say
You
slapped.
must have quit.
Let's say slapped. My first word always does terribly. The second word is usually where I hit my stride.
Yeah, you're fading out again. It sounds like you're walking away from your mic as you say every sentence.
I don't know why. I'm gonna put the microphone a little closer to me, and maybe that will fix the problem.
Blame
Probably
Brandon
good.
for putting the donuts across the room.
Yeah.
All right, and Will, I need a past. I mean, Moon. Sorry, I get you two mixed up sometimes. I need a past tense transitive verb.
Well, I mean, the article's got me thinking about trans people, so died.
There you go.
Well, that's not transitive though.
That's true. That's not transitive.
Oh, yeah. Killed.
All right. All right, Terry, I need an
Must be
adjective.
transitive.
Squishy.
All right, Hammer, I need a person.
Oh, what can I get away with?
Anyone you want.
What was the Gamergate? Sarkeesian.
Oh yeah. Anita Sarkeesian.
Okay. That could be good.
I'm not positive how to spell her name, but I don't care.
Close enough. I don't. We know who it is.
All right, so let's see. Moon, give me a dead male person.
Oh, come on. Michelle Obama.
Has to be
Not-
dead, Will.
Yeah.
Um. John McCain.
Right.
Yeah, but Keeper Dam, I'm not 100% convinced that Epstein is dead, and I'll hold off until I'm sure that that's true or convinced that he killed himself.
All right, Terry, I need a living thing.
Let's go with a frog.
Yeah,
Terrible
it's-
thing to lose.
And Hammer, I need a place.
That's Terry, isn't it?
Nah,
Oh, the
Things
second
matter.
prompt is a different person.
yeah.
Why couldn't you have chosen me for this? I know just the one.
He's gonna go with Australian towns.
You
I
get
had a
adjective,
good-
bitch.
Yeah, the problem is the last prompt out there is the last person. That would be Hammer producing both prompts on his.
Yeah.
I had such a good adjective too.
Oh.
Place.
For fuck's sake. All right, switch places. Jack, give me a place.
Whack whack.
Is that with an H or?
It's WAK WAK.
Quack,
All
quack.
right.
It's like a
And
duck.
Hammer, give me an adjective.
Enormous.
All right. Oh, no, that wasn't Anita Sarkeesian. I know what you're thinking.
Well, if it makes any difference, I was originally gonna forego the embargo and use Chunky.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, we all
so-
knew you were going to.
So, Jax
Well, no,
is...
it was Anita Sarkeesian. It has to be, you know.
All right, so Jax is the man who was slapped to death alongside John McCain. And
Can you imagine
Moons-
if it was the other, like, killed to death? That would have been.
and Moons. How I killed a baby and found a frog. An adoption story. Terry's squishy people's blood soaks the ground of whack whack. Yes. The infamous Whack Whack genocide. And Hammers 3 times the needy Sarkeesian called black people enormous. Alright, so give me a second. I'll start a poll so to check everyone which is best.
See, there was junk, lips, and booty.
Keep it says, why not Satsu instead of squishy? Because Satsu is not an adjective.
Well, I have news. I have a new strategy for every time I'm asked to name a place.
He is an Australian town.
Just an Australian town.
In Whack Whack, they
Guaranteed
hate
hilarious.
squishy people. Well, Terry's got 82%. And also we got 38 viewers and only 14 likes.
The squishy genocide in Whack Whack is even harder to get over than Macho Grande.
Yes.
And I'll never get over Macho Grande.
Andy went nuts?
No, Andy was fine.
Oh, okay. That's Airplane 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Not as good, but still it's got some good things.
Yeah.
Still a classic.
Yeah.
And Evolved Potato says just say whoop whoop next time.
Yeah.
What is that, a place too?
I don't think it's a real place. I think it's just a term for the middle of nowhere.
No,
Like out in Whoop Whoop.
No, this is a real place.
DFE.
The Australian town of Whoop Whoop, which borders on That's the Sound of the Police. All right. Well,
I still like the phrase meaning nowhere to call a place bumfuck.
yeah. All right. I think I can end the poll there. So,
The problem with that is all the subtext involved.
looks like Terry wins with 80%.
That's insane.
Like the highest number ever.
Can we get Whack Whack genocide trending? Hashtag Whack Whack genocide. Justice for Whack Whack.
Yeah.
How many people live in Whack Whack? I want to know.
It can't be many.
Let's
Ask
see.
Google.
Population of Whack
Say,
Whack.
here now since they killed off all the squishy people.
When I do a search for Whack Whack, I get a Filipino mythological creature. But here it is, Whack Whack Northern Territory. I had to scroll down a bit.
Oh,
Okay.
population 0.
So it was a successful genocide.
Yeah,
Wow.
Everybody was squishy in Whack Whack. It's just a transient town now.
that's
We found-
insane. Population 0.
We found the
I just-
first 100% successful genocide.
It was the squishy people of Whack Whack.
I just tweeted out # Whack Whack genocide.
Yeah.
Why even name a place if there's no one living there?
Well, why does Australia have Potemkin villages?
Let's go to Whack Whack. Oh, what's there? Literally nothing.
Do they just have like cardboard cutouts of people?
Yeah, like Blazing Saddles is just a fake town.
Maybe this is just a prank to like convince other people they think we have a town called Whack Whack.
If they ever do move to Australia, definitely have to move to Whack Whack. Population hammer.
Population
Yes.
1. I mean, you'll be elected mayor every year.
True. It'll be
And
unanimous.
sheriff and
I'm the mayor in this here town.
the chief of police and the sheriff.
All right. And now on to our second article. The question that I'm sure we've all been asking. Who built the gallows on J6?
The FBI.
Videos show it under construction, but still no arrests after almost 4 years. Now comes actual video of the people who built and erected the hangman's gallows and noose on the U.S. Capitol's front lawn on January 6, 2021. According to CBS News, these people were caught on several of the many hidden and not-so-hidden video cameras as they scurried like rats through downtown D-Key. Because apparently the letters D.C. need to be spelled out. And across the Capitol grounds in the pre-dawn hours of that day. Interestingly, CBS obtained these videos from a report issued by a GOP-led U.S. House subcommittee. At this writing, that report notes that the gallows construction crew's identities still remain unknown to all would-be law enforcers.
Gives a shit. Jesus, the stupid
It's symbolic.
January 6th bullshit has just been so done to death over and over again. There's no there. And every time they probe deeper into it, they still find nothing. Why the hell can't they just get the fuck over it? I'm tired of hearing about it.
The footage
It
is
was an
remarkable.
insurrection, Jack. It was an insurrection.
Yeah.
The more they talk about it, the less I care. It's incredible.
No, thousands of people died, and 200 of those were AOC.
It
The footage is remarkable in and of itself, of course, but it also demonstrates the utter brazenness of the people involved in that they had to know that they were on camera, but showed no fear of being recognized, stopped in their work, or of being captured later.
Because they weren't doing anything illegal.
Recently, former Vice President Mike Pence has declined to endorse his former boss Donald Trump as he runs again for the presidency. In all of the speculation and ruminations as to why Pence refuses to sign on to Trump's latest quest, few, if any, of the media navel-gazers have mentioned that the gallows set up on the Capitol grounds that day was done in anticipation of lynching any politicos who failed or refused to support Trump's attempted coup d'etat, especially Mike Pence, once it became clear that he would not single-handedly hand the presidency over to Trump.
And the fact
Okay,
that he's
so,
still alive should tell you that that was a load of nonsense.
Meth.
And,
This person's definitely on meth.
And also, apparently the insurrectionists believed that Mike Pence was about 2 feet tall.
What does the sign say?
This is art.
This is art.
Well,
And
that
I'm guessing
sign
there's-
looks
I'm guessing
wider.
There's a sign on
Like-
the other side that says this is Paul Simon.
Yeah,
This-
I hate to break it to the author, but America has a long history of enacting things just like this, and they're very clearly known to be not real. Like, for example, what's the name of the? Is it King Lear, where they imitate the president being killed, and they do that like every single presidential cycle, and people on the on the same
Hamilton?
side.
Is it Hamilton?
What?
Is that the name of it?
No, King Lear. And what they'll do is in King Lear, the main character dies, and they'll say, "Oh, well, they'll dress him up like the current president." So under
okay,
Obama, they
maybe.
dressed him up as Obama, and under Trump, they dressed him up as Trump. And every time, political people go apeshit as though this is somehow novel.
Okay. No, I remember they did make a big deal about that when they pretended to kill Trump. It's like, okay, but if they've done it for literally every single president, then it's not.
Well, there's a difference between like that, where they do it with every single president. Things like Kathy Griffith was the
Yeah.
Yeah,
decapitated head.
Yeah.
What was the one that's for? It's a Bush Jr. I think, where they did the death of a president and showed somebody shooting the president that wasn't. I mean, like in a movie kind of thing, but it was Bush while he was in office.
Now, clearly, they wanted to capture Mike Pence, get him to kneel down and hang him.
And And well, the other thing the authors sing on Mike Pence and Trump, don't make me defend Trump. I don't like the guy. He's by far better than who we have in office now. But it's a fan by comparison. Don't make me defend him.
Yeah.
He's brash. He's a braggart. He's rude. I don't care for the guy, but he did a good job as president. And you know, that Mike Pence isn't endorsing him this time around says more about Mike Pence than it does about Trump, and it's not saying anything good about Mike Pence.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think anybody
as I
likes
said on
Mike Pence.
Twitter, given what they say about the only good politician, I think Bud Dwyer should run for president.
Yeah. That's how you exit office gracefully.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it makes a second term very impressive if they can pull it off.
Yeah. Pence was presiding over the joint session of Congress to certify the Electoral College count and had been under heavy pressure from Trump to unilaterally overturn the 2020 election.
No,
His
he's
refusal
been
to
under
do
heavy pressure from Trump to hold the certification pending legal challenges and investigations into voting irregularities of the worst kind, shall we say.
And also, I haven't seen anybody, like, if this argument actually holds water, I haven't seen anybody complain like our vice president can single-handedly overturn an election. That
No,
seems
he has
like
very, very little power.
Amazing. Ever since Joe Biden got into office, suddenly their problem with that whole, the vice president can overturn the results of an election thing, that just went away.
yeah, because if that were an actual risk, my first thought would be, for fuck's sake, take that power away from the vice president.
Yeah.
Okay. His
The vice president presides over that particular hearing, but has little more than procedural power.
His refusal to do so.
It's like the Electoral College, though, isn't it? That these people, whenever there is a system oddity that can potentially cut against them, they suddenly freak out. And then the second that it doesn't cut against them, they're like, "Oh, this is fine."
Well, exactly. Every single time, and you get the system is functioning as designed, and the person I want to be in office is in office. Oh, hey, it's the greatest thing. It's functioning as designed, and the person that I want to be in office doesn't win playing by the rules. Oh no, this is an outdated system. No, it's not. It's because the president is not the representative of the people; he's the representative of the states. It's weighted by population, but it's controlled by the interests of the people and the interests of the state separately.
His refusal to do so elicited loud and long protests and shouts from thousands of Trump supporters as they rampaged outside and ultimately through the Capitol building. "Hang Mike Pence" was the chant, over and over as they wielded flagpoles featuring Old Glory and Trump 2020. Together with stolen police shields, billy clubs, bear spray, hunting knives, bicycle racks, fists, and yes, concealed firearms.
If they were wielding concealed firearms, how is it that nobody was caught with concealed firearms that day?
Also, if they had concealed firearms, then apparently they were very non-violent because they didn't shoot anybody.
If they were concealed, how many people were carrying them?
Yeah. And then, you go through all the rest of them. I've seen a decent number of January 6th videos right now. I don't recall seeing anyone with crowds chanting "Hang Mike Pence." I'm like, maybe I missed it. There's a lot of hours of video from that day, but I don't recall seeing any of those.
Yeah, that they planned on putting Mike Pence in those gallows, which I'm sure would fall over once he was hanging from it.
That gallows would fall over from putting anything much bigger than a Barbie doll in it.
As noted, a small cadre of these people used what appeared to be a wheelbarrow to haul long pieces of lumber and wooden beams through D. Key's major streets, hours before the Capitol siege began. They
Put
crossed
up a work of art that they sourced from Home Depot. Got it.
And also, I Googled it and I found a left wing website, and they were talking about would anybody be able to actually hang someone with those? And pretty much everyone was like, well, not really. Except for, hold on.
Not unless they were Danny DeVito.
Except for one person put, again, a couple modifications and some added support bracketing, maybe an extra hour's work, and that thing goes from symbolic to fully functioning easily.
Oh yeah, a couple hours work that they didn't put into it, and materials and resources they didn't put into it.
Yeah,
My
you know how-
ex is under 5 foot tall, and you couldn't hang her from those gallows.
Yeah, you know how easy it is to hang someone? All you need is a rope and a tree. You don't need a special gallows to do it.
If this gallows was a completely different gallows, it could be a real threat.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, if they really wanted to hang Mike Pence, they could have done it with a rope and the fence from the fence around the Capitol.
I mean, as some of them pointed out, they would have been better off just using the 2x4s and bashing his head. Also, the reply that, or the comment that I read had the best response to it. Yes, if things were different, things would be different.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Yep.
amazing how applicable that is in all circumstances, everywhere.
So they'd have to capture Mike Pence, hold him, and work on it for a couple hours. Then they can hang him.
With the DC police and the Secret Service actively trying to stop you.
They
not
crossed
to mention like the sergeant of arms and everybody that he can command from Congress.
They crossed the iconic Union Square near Independence Avenue, two spots that some of the thousands of Trumpeteers would soon overrun following his fight like hell speech some 2 miles down the road.
That's a new name, Trumpeteers.
That's actually not a terrible one. And wait a minute, are you just admitting now that Trump wasn't there speaking to the people that were doing this when they did this? He wasn't
He
I
wasn't.
think it's really
guiding
sad.
their action.
I think it's really sad that
Odd.
Trumpeteers is probably the best name I've heard from them for Trump followers.
Yeah.
Because like after like 8 to 10 years, they still haven't come up with a good insulting name for them.
No.
Uh,
Yeah,
Well,
the closest they've got is
maggots.
the maggots.
Yeah, I was going to say there's maggots. They put maggot with a T at the end. That's genius.
yeah. I mean, if
Yeah,
they had,
that's grade school clever right there.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, if
Early grade school.
if they had any balls, the easy one is Faga.
Yeah, they aren't going to do that.
They did not move these materials in broad daylight. Rather, as stated, it was in the pre-dawn hours when most of D. Key's residents were either still asleep or just beginning what turned into one of the most terrifying days in that city's history.
So
Oh,
terrifying.
it was terrifying. AOC died 200 times.
Yeah.
So terrifying.
Specifically, according to the report by the subcommittee, between 6:30 and 7:15 a.m., the group raised the platform and two main pillars of the gallows. They did not immediately connect the crossbeam or attach a bright orange noose until approximately 1 p.m. Now, in broad and open daylight, just as the festivities, rioting, looting, and seizure of the building began in earnest. Again, these folk made
You
no
mean the
attempt.
police waving people in and
Yeah.
opening the doors for them and everything and giving guided tours?
Yeah, between those velvet ropes, it was chaos. Okay, again, these folk made no attempt whatever to hide their identities. And again, according to the subcommittee, the individuals who constructed the gallows have never been identified. Finally,
Should they worry about that? Ever heard of the First Amendment?
Finally, none of the 1,300 defendants criminally charged by the Justice Department in connection with the siege are even hinted at being involved with the construction of the gallows.
Finally, none of the 1,300 defendants criminally charged by the Justice Department in connection with the siege actually broke any laws. Maybe one or two, but generally speaking, none of the 1,300 did.
Which means it's worth it. As noted, the gallows sported a bright orange-colored rope. According to Raymond Widenbush, that's a made-up name, a professor at Maryland's Morgan State University, the brightness and unusual color of this noose was meant as a message to black people.
Oh, seriously, orange rope bad? It's a nylon rope from Home Depot. You're going to get it yellow, green, or orange.
Well, didn't you know orange has negative connotations for black people? Black people hate the color orange.
Yeah,
Orange
it's like
is white
red
supremacy.
with a bowl. A reminder of the not-so-distant past of ritualized government-backed lynching of African Americans.
It was local governments, it was Democrats, and they didn't use orange nylon ropes. They used some variation of hemp.
No, they wanted to hang black people like Mike Pence.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But once again, the people doing the government-backed and ritualized lynchings, they were Democrats.
Did Mike Pence vote for Joe Biden?
He must have.
I don't think he did, since he's not black.
I mean, he's probably the whitest person I could think of.
Wouldn't
I
that be
know
like
black
the
cat, and he's
ultimate?
whiter than me.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate validation for them is to say that Mike Pence was black?
The whiter person has to be Sean King, though. I thought that was well established.
The oddly colored noose thus served as an ominous omen of things to come for anyone, especially black people, who opposed a certain orange-tinged president. Professor Winbush told CBS News that African Americans can't view the events of January 6, 2021, and not recall the history of lynched black people in America. The gallows were there, so were the ropes, and, most chilling, the screaming faces of white men and women yelling for the blood of Mike Pence.
Okay.
Why did these people think that black people were the only people to have ever been hanged ever?
Because they were.
I've got a question. If the orange rope was especially significant and everything, what color of rope would be better? I mean, if the orange rope was just too insensitive because the color is wrong, which color rope should they have for this?
Black,
green, black.
Green.
Black people like the color green.
Like green and red for watermelon colors.
Yeah.
Branya literally just said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, and
Also-
Braniel is now suggesting purple for grape drank.
Also,
what color is the father? Because it can't be that color either.
the people screaming for the blood of Mike Pence is a classic sign of a black person's lynching.
Yeah, true.
And if the gallows adorned with its brightly colored noose did not make the point clear enough, the videos obtained by CBS News also show gigantic Confederate flags being waved and paraded near the Capitol grounds on that early morning, throughout the day.
Oh no, not another Confederate flag. Who gives a shit?
But especially...
Well, you see, the problem was they were waving a Confederate flag and not a Confederate flag.
But especially close to the time when our unidentified group was busily constructing the gallows. Which looks like it took about 5 minutes. During and after the mob seized the building, and while and after they assaulted the police, the gallows were left unattended and undisturbed, according to journalist Michael Person.
Well, the rope's too high for a toddler to catch themselves on it, and nobody else is at risk.
Who was covering the Capitol attack. Person, in fact, later discovered that someone had cut the orange noose down and tossed it to the ground. He said that he actually
That's
saw
actually a bigger safety threat.
he said that he actually
Right?
saw a young
But now you got a noose on the ground. That's a big safety threat.
he said that he actually saw a young black man shimmy up the gallows and cut down the noose.
Jimmy, up that? What
But it
was he,
was-
6?
But it was orange. How did he not get scared off by it? Person told CBS.
I want to know how he wasn't able to just stand there and reach to cut it. What was he, 6?
He could have just kicked the whole thing over, probably. Person
Jarvis
told
black man standing on that would be, that rope would be like chest level.
Person told CBS News that this young black man then threw the noose away and ran away. Nobody seemed to have noticed. The crowd had already dispersed. There were just small groups lingering on the field, but still, I thought it was a pretty courageous thing to do.
It's kind of courageous because there you've actually got something that may be a crime in the destruction of property.
Person turned the rope into the FBI, who in late 2021 acknowledged that it indeed had the rope. For a sec, I thought it said that it indeed was a rope.
Well, they probably confirmed that first. This is the FBI you're talking about.
The FBI spent millions of dollars before confirming that it was in fact a rope.
They then proceeded
In 2 years.
They then proceeded to shoot the rope's dog.
Well, they
I just-
shot every dog in DC just to be safe. Can't be certain whose dog it was.
They shot the dog, and then they went to Ruby Ridge and burned that down again.
Just to be sure. A Justice Department spokesman would only tell CBS News that the January 6, 2021 breach of the U.S. Capitol is an ongoing investigation. Therefore, we cannot discuss anything beyond the public record. And
They're
naturally-
really lucky that nobody involved had a Guy Fawkes notion in their head, because with as lousy as the security was deliberately there, they'd still be rebuilding the Capitol building.
Oh,
Of-
and Rotten Corpse corrects me. Ruby Ridge was the ATF.
same thing.
It-
They're all-
it- they all
No,
close.
the ATF is even less competent, but they're better at shooting dogs.
And they're always playing Cher music.
Yeah.
And naturally, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C., which prosecutes January 6 offenders, also declined to comment. Why is it so difficult for the so-called mainstream media, for politicians both left and right, for ordinary people who insist that they are white? Why can't these people finally acknowledge that it is their racism, their deep-seated hatred for all who do not look like them, that is the sole reason this nation-state will ultimately fail as an organized socio-political, economic, and cultural entity?
It did pretty well without recognizing whatever the fuck you're talking about.
This is not about guilt tripping or wringing guilt admissions from white people. It is about what are you gonna believe, him or your ears?
Yeah.
It is about ending white supremacy once and for all. Yes, but in order to finally accomplish this, it is white people who must finally acknowledge that they are the problem. They must acknowledge, not to black people nor to the Earth's colored majority, for we have always known, but to themselves, that Europe, Australia, and the two nation-states comprising this North American landmass are the singular cause of just about every malady that afflicts this planet.
Awesome. I
We're-
made the list.
We're not trying to put you through a guilt trip. We're just trying to get you to acknowledge that you're the problem with literally everything.
Yeah, because Russia, Soviet Union back in the day, has never done anything to cause any malady in the world. And of course, all those didn't do nothings in Africa who were responsible for 99% of the slavery of Africans, both to the west and to the east. Yeah, they didn't do nothing either.
The Khmer Rouge, what's that? Yeah. That Europe, Europe, North America, and especially Wacka Wacka Australia. Their 500-year long and still counting devastation, destruction, exploitation, and literal rape of difference must end. We gotta stop raping? Man. That ending, however, begins with acknowledging their sad and sordid past and their ongoing sins against so-called non-white people.
What do you mean
See,
so-called? You're
I've-
either white or you're not.
Yeah, and this person's got me confused now because if the order is, if the instruction, the guidance is to stop raping, and I've never been raping, doesn't that kind of suggest that I have to start raping so I can follow the instruction to stop raping?
That is
And
true.
I'll just say thank God that this person told me not to rape, because here I thought that rape was a great thing.
No.
Till
It turns out it's
just
bad.
now. But then I met you. Then I met you.
Man. Thanks to the people who built the gallows on January 6th, we know rape is bad.
I'll have to write that down. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the people that wrote built the gallows on January 6th are the reason why I know that rape is bad, then I mean they did good things. Why are we complaining about them?
Fair point.
Or are you trying to convince me that they're bad people because we should be raping? I'm starting to get confused.
Yeah. I wish I could comment. Then I could just ask, is rape good or bad?
Yeah.
But I can't. So I'll just have to assume it's good. I don't know. But once that acknowledgement is made, actual, practical, concrete, and permanent measures must be initiated to finally close the cavernous wealth and health gaps between black people, the global south, and white people.
In other words, let's make the U.S. into South Africa, where the blacks take everything away from the whites and kill them.
Yeah.
And then starve to death.
Maybe with gallows. As for black
the
Americans,
gallows will get some use at least, and hanging to death, whether you snap the neck or asphyxiate, it's a lot faster than the starvation.
As for black Americans, the vast, vast majority of white Americans, however, are adamantly opposed to reparations of any kind for the 250 years of black slavery and another 150 years and counting of race-based discrimination, degradation, and dehumanization of Africans and us, their black descendants.
Well, I mean, you've got a couple of just minor logistical issues with the notion of reparations.
I think reparations are a great idea. All you need to do, anyone currently a slave in the United States should receive reparations. I'm 100%
from anybody currently owning slaves. Yeah, I can get on board with that. If you're trying to go with the historical thing, you got to deal with the problem of who pays, who receives, because almost everybody who is black that can claim slave ancestry also is descended from slave owners. Some of those also black.
Yeah, I'm even going to say it shouldn't just be a slaveholder. They should receive reparations from their slave owners. So
yes.
The
if you are a slave
currently
today,
should be the one that pays them the reparations.
Yeah, if you are a slave today, the person who is your slaveholder, the master that you're being forced to serve, must pay you reparations for you being a slave today. 100% there.
Yep.
Also, remember when this article was about January 6th?
No, that was
Neither does the author, so
I'm having a hard time drawing the line between reparations and wanting to hang Mike Pence.
Wait,
yes.
would hanging Mike Pence be reparations? Because in that case, I mean, that is kind of a small price to pay.
The only person you should be hanging is Mr. Cooper.
The show just came from Mr. Cooper attending a lot of lynchings.
Well, I mean, is it Mr. Cooper? Is it the people that are hanging with Mr. Cooper? I mean, it doesn't sound like Mr. Cooper is the one that's hanging there.
That's fair.
Or I mean, to be grammatically correct, the other option is he's hanging, but others are hanging with him.
Yes.
Man, hanging with Mr. Cooper, Emmett Till was a big fan of that show. Yes, most white people think they have done enough already for black people, and will get visceral, downright violent, in fact, if they are even asked, let alone forced, to do anything that might remotely benefit black people.
I ain't gonna say I ain't violent or anything about the notion of being asked to help black people. If you try to take something from me by force, yeah, I'm gonna get violent.
Yeah, look, I'm
It's my life you're
perfectly-
stealing.
No, I'm perfectly willing to help black people. I think there should be more signs showing where the DMV is.
Yeah.
I think that's just something we could do for the black community, help them out a bit. I've got no problem with that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give any of them directions to the DMV if they, if they ask, if they want to, if they need to know. I'll be happy. I mean, heck, if they live close to me and I've got the time, I might even drive them there. I'm nice enough, fellow.
Yeah,
And
see?
Some of the time.
And if they don't know, like, when the DMV opens or closes, we can just find some kind of sign to let them know when it's time to leave.
Yeah. That would be very helpful.
They refuse to see and make the connection between all of those long centuries of black pain and black suffering and their current white comfort. This is why...
As a person who is descended from people that never owned slaves of any color, and some branches of the family were actually oppressed and everything, any comfort I have right now didn't come from the backs or the centuries of black pain and suffering.
I was going to say, I've got a problem with black pain, though I don't have the L in the word. It's just back pain.
This is why so many of them so easily and so eagerly relate to and embrace Trump. He represents a last great white hope.
But he's orange. Like, make up your mind.
Yeah, he is orange and was really, really nice to black people. In fact, nobody ever complained about him being racist until he got into the race for the 2016 election. And after he was elected, the people that were disproportionately benefited by his policies were the blacks who were doing better than ever, especially after all the years of Obama making racial tensions worse than any time in history post-slavery.
No, Trump wanted to hang all the black people. That's why the gallows were at the biggest gathering of black people, the U.S. Capitol. This is about 2042, when for the first time in their bloody history, white people will join the rest of us as a numerical minority in their own land. They know only too well how they have treated all the minorities, especially how they have treated, stop putting words in quotes, black people. They fear that not just black people, but all of the Earth's other peoples will treat them the way they have treated all those races, which they invented.
We invented black people, that's true.
Yeah, you're welcome, black people. Months in the lab.
Hey, come on, whites didn't even discover the black people. How are we supposed to have invented them?
They were the beta for white people.
Well, I mean, I don't care if you follow Christianity or atheism on this one. So between the Middle East and Africa is the cradle of all life. So by their own rules and everything, we all be black.
Yeah.
Every single one of us come from melanated descent. That's them them's own rules.
Yeah. Okay. It's a zero-sum proposition for them. They fear that any gains in any sphere of life by black people will result in diminution. Is it diminution? Diminution? I don't know. A net loss of their heretofore superior position in this racial hierarchy. Again, a pyramid and hierarchy which they themselves constructed in the first place. Trump promises them that he will hold back, if not stymie altogether, the dark and surging billions. he will establish a permanent, modernized apartheid nation state and planet in which white folks' minority status will not matter. Man, I want to see this speech.
Yeah, what? When did Trump promise this? Any of this?
It was
I mean,
dog
I don't even
whistles?
recall that in the penumbra of any of his speeches that I've heard. So, I mean, I'm curious because if he's that terrible of a person, I'm going to have to find a different candidate for 2024.
Yeah. Okay, just as the Dutch Afrikaners of South Africa did for centuries, this coming white minority-ruled world will likewise monopolize the levers of physical coercion and the instruments of violence, and thus protect and defend its never-ending religious worship and practice of cutthroat capitalism.
Summer of Love. Who was the violent group?
405 years.
Well, thank God I'm not going to be alive at that point. No matter all my efforts to be immortal by not dying, I somehow don't think I'm going to make it 405 years.
No, all you've got to do is instead of dying, don't. Then you...
I know I'm working on it, but my body's fighting me on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to find the key to everlasting life, but we instead invented black people.
Yeah. No,
Our bad.
As I was telling people many times, I've died 0 times in 43 years. If this trend continues, I'm immortal.
Yeah.
I say I'm immortal till I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll probably be the most surprised by that too. So.
Yeah, so you just hit the button and typed in IDDQD.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder how many people got that reference.
That would be Doom. Or was it Doom or Wolfenstein?
It was Doom.
I think it was Doom because I never played Wolfenstein.
Yeah. Okay.
That or Power Overwhelming.
Power Overwhelming was StarCraft, I think.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was also a thing in Diablo, I think, but.
I mean, a lot of games.
No, but I think Power Overwhelming was a code in StarCraft as well.
Yes. No, that's what I was referring to. Just dropping another game in there.
No. But I said StarCraft and you said no, so I got confused.
Did I say no? I didn't think so.
Oh, I must have misheard. But yeah, when you said
I misspoke. It does happen.
Yeah. No, when you said Power Overwhelming, my first thought was StarCraft.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right. Tune in next time when we'll figure out the answer to this question. So, with the end of the second article comes the second game, which is for the chat only. Boobs. And that is and that is the caption contest, where I'll show a photo of a political figure or event, and the chat has to come up with a caption for it, and whichever one we like best, I'll tweet out after the show. So, this week we've got the protesters at Vanderbilt speaking while all wearing masks.
Well, you got to stay safe.
Apparently they were protesting over, like, the Israel-Gaza thing.
Well, they should have just set themselves on fire.
Yeah. Pussies.
Yeah. I can't take any non-flaming activists seriously anymore. That guy raised the bar. If you want to be an activist, you got to set yourself on fire.
So you only like gay activists?
Well, I mean, I've set myself on fire a couple of times, and I never thought of doing it as a protest move.
Yeah. Let's see. See, we can go outside. Hello, we are chickens from KFC. I mean, queers for Palestine. MenCap take to the streets in protest. I don't know what MenCap is.
No.
Unless it's a typo. Muffled whack 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 whack.
I think Kenny McCormick might vote for that one.
Let's see. That's
charity. MenCap's the charity for the mentally disabled.
Okay. Yes.
I trust the science. That is why I still wear a mask. Rich kids didn't get what they want. Worse than the Holocaust. We wear mask when we sneeze. A Jew.
That's kind of dumb.
Dude.
Bad Teeth Awareness Week.
Well, how do we know that they're English?
Yeah.
Because they're still they're wearing the masks to hide their teeth, obviously.
Keep it in. Says no more Dobby ones. I hope. I mean, you can make Dobby jokes. I just want to understand them. So you can make all the Harry Potter references you want. I won't vote for it.
We're putting our liberal arts degrees to good use. Trust fund baby problems, am I right? Affluent white middle class support group. Give it like 5-10 more seconds. We're here, we're queer and boosted. Affluenza sufferers united. We can't social distance and wear mask. The science. Dad, if I start sucking this dick, will you love me? Tyr, try and concentrate on the contest. Alright, well, I think I'll cut it off there, so. What do you guys think is best?
None of them really jump out at me. Maybe Evolved Potato with rich kids don't get what they want, worse than the Holocaust.
Yeah, I was kind of holding out for one that struck me as nicely as the one that crossed my mind, but I followed the rules, which was socially distancing ourselves from Jews. It's just I need to think about this a minute.
And yeah, which one will I go with? I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Ebony Williams. We're putting our liberal arts degrees to good use because that's about all their liberal arts degrees are worth.
Yeah.
All right, Jack.
I'll go with that. As funny as it would be to have Tyr's quote next to his name on Twitter.
You are cutting in and out like crazy, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ducking.
Sorry. I think.
Did you break your squelch?
I don't know. It might just be the port or something.
Alright, I guess I'll have to go with tears. If I start sucking this dick, will you love me?
Fair enough.
Alright, so which one did you say, Jack?
Hello. Sorry.
Hello?
Yep.
Jeez, that
Is it
microphone.
me you're looking for?
The one that how about the one that Will chose?
So Ebony.
Okay. So Terry?
What was it? Rich kids don't get what they want, worse than the Holocaust by Evolved.
Alright, and Hammer?
Yeah, I have to go with Terry on that.
Okay, we have a two-way tie.
Oh God, the week sucks so much already. Just change my vote to the other one. Who cares?
Alright. So which
That
is
Do
the other
better,
one?
audience.
And a bottle of whiskey.
So which one did you originally vote for, Jack?
Who gives a shit?
So which one are you voting for now?
Whichever one makes it win. It's not, couldn't The answers aren't good enough for me to care.
So basically, he was agreeing with Will. He's willing to change to Hammer and me if it'll break the tie, is what I'm hearing.
Okay, which one did you guys choose? And you better remember it.
Yeah, that was the rich people don't get what they want worse than the Holocaust.
Okay.
We broke Jack.
All right. So
I'm
Jack.
fucking tired, man. It's been a long week.
A pillar of consistency, Jack.
I am
Jack's doing.
consistent in that I want this facade to end already.
Wait, consistency is that a Northeast thing? Is that near
Will,
where
shut
Jack
the
lives?
fuck up.
Is there inconsistency as well? I want to know.
All right. So
I want
congrats.
to change my vote to Jack's original vote.
There you go.
That's right. We're gonna filibuster this game. All right. So Evolved wins.
Congrats, Evolved.
It'll be like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, where I'm just standing up there. Love thy neighbor, everyone. End the vote. Love thy neighbor.
All right. So now on to our third article. All right. Migrant influencer outrages wage slaves while flashing free cash and squatting in a U.S. home.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Pissed me off.
People
That's a good
who
ending, though.
Yeah. People who love capitalism and think every problem is a result of not working hard enough are finding out that sometimes their precious free market works in mysterious ways. A Venezuelan migrant named Lionel Marino has got conservative social media in an uproar after calling them slaves while flashing a fat stack of cash he received from government benefits after crossing the border illegally. There's no such thing as illegal immigration, it's just immigration.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
I can't make it out. Are those $100 bills?
Looks like it, yeah.
Jesus.
Marino has gone viral on TikTok, where he encourages other migrants to enter the U.S. without waiting for asylum and take advantage of squatters' rights to obtain free housing.
What a nice person.
He receives $350 weekly in subsidy benefits, while he, his wife, and their infant child live rent-free in an abandoned house they've taken over. With all of the free time he has, he's researched squatters' rights in several U.S. states and has been providing advice to other migrants on which areas provide squatters with the most legal rights and protection from bourgeoisie landlords.
I don't think there should be squatters' rights. I think you should get kicked the fuck out of the home if you don't own it and you're not renting it.
There are a lot of crazy land laws in the U.S.
What?
There are a lot of crazy land laws in the U.S. Like, for example, a lot of it comes down to who is using the land at the time. If you use a piece of land for long enough, you can gain rights to that land.
So if you steal land and then just use it for a while, there's we legally recognize that you successfully stole the land. It's yours now.
Pretty much, yeah.
That is insane.
He's making the most of his newfound freedom, using it to help others by studying the laws and sharing his insights. I didn't cross the Rio Grande to work like a slave. I came to the U.S. to mark my territory. I didn't cross 12 countries to be a slave to anyone. I came to the USA to become a millionaire.
Wow, that sounds like an invader to me.
Now he's oppressed. And not one of those 12 countries was better than the one he left. Marino said he was earning upwards of $1,000 a week from social media, and that he had enough money to live off of for over a year and a half without ever working. He verified this with screenshots of his PayPal and Stripe accounts, as he mocked Americans who work for a living, calling them slaves and suckers. Ouch, that stings, but it's true. He made similar remarks to migrants who entered the U.S. legally and joined the workforce using visas on their path to citizenship. You're
I
hurt
mean,
because.
I hate to agree with the author, but if that is a way to get a bunch of money, you kind of are a sucker if you do it the legal way. Like if you're financially rewarded by the government for breaking the law, then what kind of idiot follows the law?
I for one, you know what? I admire this guy's entrepreneurial spirit. I think that he and all of his friends should be sent to every Democrat run state in America because
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that the Democrat states are going to have the most lax laws on property theft.
Yep. As someone who lives in western Massachusetts, I completely support sending migrants to eastern Massachusetts. That's. You're hurt because I make more than you without much work, while you work like slaves, understand? That's the difference between you and me. I'm always going to make lots of money without much work, and you're always going to be exploited and miserable and insignificant. Yeah, and as James Colley points out, he is now in federal custody.
Good.
So,
Yeah, and to and to go with Jack's recognition and admiration for his entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah, he should definitely be the richest person in prison, followed by the richest person deported back to his own home nation without any of the ill-gotten gains acquired in the U.S.
yeah. And even if he does keep the money when he gets sent back, good luck not getting robbed.
Yeah, that's very
No, I
true.
mean he got the money in pursuit of illegal activity and advancement of crime by himself and others. It's against U.S. law to profit by the actions of your crime. So every single one of those dollars has to be seized. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just has to declare it as income when he does his taxes. It'll be fine.
So Evolved Potato says seems like he should be arrested, his assets seized because all that money was made through crime and then deported. I would counter that by saying if anyone doesn't deserve the money in this case, it's the federal government.
Now they're going to take it and give it to Ukraine.
I think they should take it and give it to the homeowners.
You know it's never going to end up with them.
Of course
Not, but that's where it deserves to go.
And odds are this guy will be pardoned or let go without bail or something.
Of course.
Marino, who
Let
was
go without bail. He's not going to be pardoned unless Biden thinks of it before he leaves office.
Marino, who was detained and released by Border Patrol, who put him on border parole, cut off his ankle monitor and is now listed as an absconder by ICE.
See, that should be grounds for automatic deportation, no matter what your claim for asylum status or anything like that, too. Even if you otherwise had a potentially legitimate asylum claim, if you abscond, cut off any monitoring, cut communication ties with the officials that are responsible for managing or reviewing your asylum case, that should be instant deportation.
It should be.
I mean, it's probably
Like,
not, but
not even review and reread of your file. Just you cut off the ankle monitor. Goodbye.
You could.
We're gonna tag you, so if you ever cross the border again, we can catch you and deport you again.
You could get into America illegally, and then commit murder, and not get deported.
That is sadly true.
Oh yeah, they've done it this week.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's not even a joke. That's the reality of the situation. You could do all sorts of heinous shit and still remain in America.
Hey, Biden
That's happened
acknowledged.
in the last week or two.
Biden acknowledged Lincoln Riley, okay, and then apologized to her murderer. Let's see. Funny how people don't like being treated like a prisoner simply for wanting a better life for their family. Marino's TikTok account has since been banned after conservative Twitter had an epic meltdown of a tantrum and started mass reporting his content. But he assured the New York Post he'll regain access to his account soon, and is now making enough revenue from Facebook and Instagram to replace the income lost to being banned on TikTok. All told, he's currently raking in $65,000 a year from home, while not having to pay ridiculously high rent.
Because he's stealing the house and breaking laws left, right, and center. The guy should be incarcerated until he's deported.
He's just, avoiding being oppressed. That's all.
Mm.
He also said he plans on building a business out of using squatters' rights to obtain abandoned homes and selling them to other migrants for an affordable price.
That's obscene.
There's that entrepreneurial spirit conservatives claim to admire. It seems
I'm going to steal your property and make money by selling it to others. Grand theft.
Jack, did you read this article ahead of time?
You know how we're always talking about how it's capitalism is good because you can steal things and sell them? It seems the market has found a way after all. I think it's a great idea.
No, this is not normal market function. Normal market function does not account for direct theft like this.
Well, maybe it should.
Well, I mean, he's got to give him though. He's ahead of his time. He's ahead of his time and ahead of the curve. He is a socialist.
Yeah.
Let me steal it from you and make money off it before the government can.
The closest that the free market under normal functioning conditions gets to theft is if you make a bad deal willingly. Anything other than that is not proper functioning.
I think it's a great idea. There are millions of homes in the U.S. not being used. Why should migrants have to stay in? Why should migrants have to stay in cramped shelters when they can have an entire house?
Because people own those houses.
As somebody who has an inside track on information about secondary, seasonal, and vacant homes, I can tell you that there's not millions of them that are in good repair and in the condition of the homes that he's actively trying to steal that are just unoccupied and abandoned. There's not thousands of them.
I think I just came up with a solution. Like, they all need a place to live, and I know a town in Australia with no population.
That is true.
I think we should send them all there.
Yeah.
I am 100% on board with sending them to Whack Whack.
As long as they're not squishy, then,
Yeah, then they might die.
But,
Well, did the genociders move on from? I mean, Whack Whack's got zero population, so presumably the genociders moved on. It should be safe for squishy people now.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Several UK and European legislators have considered fining landlords for holding on to vacant properties instead of leasing them out, noting that this drives up the cost of rent and amplifies the housing crisis.
Well, let's see. Are they really refusing to lease the homes out, or are they refusing to give them away? Because if you are a landlord, you don't make money on vacant houses. You make money on renting to good risks.
Even if they're not renting it out, so what? It's their property.
Mhm.
They own
Their
it. You don't
decision.
get to take it away.
Yeah. It's theirs. They bought it. And guess what? It's super expensive these days. So they didn't exactly pay little money for it. They paid a lot of money for it.
Now, I'm sure there are plenty of homeowners who are just going, "There's no one in my house right now." Ha 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 ha.
I'm so
And
sick
you run
of this
into
bullshit.
cases like that one in New York where the woman's mother dies. She goes to clear the place out and gets murdered by the squatters. And
Well, that's
all of
just
these
That's
You know,
just
a
another
person
case
goes
of
on
capitalism
vacation
not
for a week
working.
and comes home to somebody else occupying their home.
I wonder if the federal government can do something about this.
Do you-
Can, yes, willing to, no.
Yeah. That's just the entrepreneurial spirit again. You murder the homeowner and take their home.
The government is on the side of the people breaking the law on the state level and on the federal level.
At the moment, what I was thinking of is if there was a change to somebody who's more reasonable, Trump, could he pass a federal law saying, all of you states, yeah, no squatters' rights? I wonder if he could
Probably not, but he could definitely get. I mean, if the executive branch followed the legal orders that they're required to follow, he could get something in the way because every single one of these individuals, pretty well, most of them at least, crossed state lines, and some of them crossed international boundaries to steal homes. That falls very firmly under the jurisdiction then of the FBI and the federal government to pursue charges. So
The
even if the
president
state has squatters' rights laws, the federal government could step in at least in every case where the person was not a original resident of that state and snap up those people.
I would suggest that he would probably have the most luck if he prevented the illegal aliens from entering the country in the first place. I think that that's where he could probably produce the most change if he was
Yeah,
talking
well, that
about
is going to be the
people.
most change.
If he was talking about the actual issue specifically, that would he'd probably run into the 10th Amendment.
Yes and no, because once again, if you cross state lines to do something that's illegal, it does fall, or you involve a crime across state lines, that does fall into federal jurisdiction. So even with states' rights, that could hit in FBI and federal courts. If you're dealing with somebody who, oh, hey, they're born and raised in New York and they stole a house in New York, that's at least unless and until you can implicate a crime against federal law, that would be a states' rights issue.
I think
But
that
if you're-
Terry was driven off by the length of this explanation, Will.
We can either get mad at migrants for working within legal loopholes to get their basic needs as human beings met, which is really just petty jealousy, or we can congratulate them for finding a way to fight back against an unfair system that has enslaved us all.
I am not going to congratulate them for breaking the law and committing crimes that would have me incarcerated for life if I did them, but they get a magic pass because they're breaking other laws at the same time. Not going to happen.
Breaking the law is just a legal loophole.
Yeah, break my door down and eat that loophole.
There isn't a housing shortage. There's an empathy shortage. There are plenty of homes to house.
We haven't been building homes at the rate of population growth in a long time. Yes, there is actually a housing shortage, and some states, especially leftist states, are making it worse by making it harder to build houses.
Screw the houses. We need to build empathy.
That ain't happening with me.
There are plenty of homes.
We need more empathy factories.
Yeah.
There ain't enough drugs on the planet to give me more empathy.
There are plenty of homes to house every migrant and unhoused person, but they're all sitting empty and unused because of greed. When people wake up to how employers are exploiting their labor, they start looking for creative ways to escape oppression. Marino is just taking the fight for the working class to the streets by arming his fellow migrants with information on how to liberate themselves from systemic oppression.
Oh, that's a good one involved. That would be interesting to sit in on that legal argument. Because the states with squatters' rights and the special benefits to the illegals are actually depriving people of life, liberty, and property without due process of law by allowing squatters to deprive them of their property. That could be an interesting case for a federal court.
All right. Well, with the end of the third article comes the final game. And that is Po or No Gender Edition,
Yay!
where I'll give you 3 genders, 2 of which are from the LGBTIA wiki, meaning they're 100% real, and one I made up, and you have to figure out which one is made up.
Oh my.
And I'll even give you a short description of each one.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Gender A. Gender speed. Xenogender related to going over the speed limit on a highway.
Darn it, I was hoping it was going to relate to I feel the need for speed.
Well, one of the fake ones I did once was a danger zone gender. Alright, gender B. Blood mat. Aestheta gender related to welcome mats covered in blood.
So, slasher killer, got it.
And gender C. A gender rat. Gender identity in which one is agender in the same way that a rat has no concept of gender.
What?
What?
I assure you, rats have a very good concept of gender. A lot
So,
better than most humans, apparently.
So I'll start a poll so the chat can get in on it. And don't forget, one of the options is that they're all real.
Devil Fruit Zero going at the speed of gender.
Alright, so Jack, which one are you going with?
The thing is that my instinct says A because it seems like the most likely one a person could come up with. But instead of doing that,
you're fading out again.
oh, my instinct says A because that seems like the most likely one someone could come up with. But instead of doing that, I'm gonna go with wild ass guess and say it's B.
Okay. Alright, and Moon.
I'm going to go with C on the theory that if it was a real one, you would have relegated it to too retarded for TV.
Alright. Let's see. Terry.
I'll go A to cover all the bases.
Alright. Hammer. Hammer. Hammer.
QT.
All right, he says all real, just so that every single answer is
What, now we got voter fraud?
But Hammer's not dead yet.
Of course, we
getting
don't
better.
have voter. Of course, we don't have voter fraud. What do you think this is, Georgia?
I feel happy.
cute.
Alright, so apparently Hammer is abstaining.
Yeah.
So let's see. Chat, B and C are tied. And let's see.
It's
Also-
weird because usually all real gets like a lot of votes, but here it's not actually in the running.
And also we still have fewer likes than viewers, so you better like it or I'm going to squat in your house.
Unless you're using your spiritual name, then we will have no way of knowing who you are.
Yeah.
And when he says he'll squat in your house, that means he's got to take a shit in your yard.
I mean,
I
yeah,
live in
that
an
too.
apartment. He can do that in the yard all he wants to. It's somebody else's worry.
Yeah, my spiritual name is Plays with Squirrels. And whoever gets that reference gets a bonus. And that bonus is my respect.
So nothing.
Alright. I mean, looks like it's still tied B and C. Well,
Too late. Almost guy already does that. Around here, the geese do that.
Delahazed got it. Yeah, that was a Boy Meets World reference.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen
Alright.
that show in like such a long time.
Yeah.
Haven't
But-
seen that show in ever.
It was okay. It was nothing special.
Alright. I guess I'll have to end it there. So we got Ty in chat and Hammer's abstaining. Alright. And the answer is B is fake.
Oh.
Yes.
That's
I've
right.
lost
I'd
all
love
hope for humanity.
I'd laugh if Hammer comes back and says, "Oh, I finally got my microphone working. I vote for B."
The equivalent of a mail-in vote.
Yeah.
Alright. So let's look at the flags for the real ones. Let's see, we've got gender speed. Which doesn't really fit. That's more like electricity than speed. But
Maybe they're going
and,
for flash level speed force.
and we've got a gender rat, which just looks like Neapolitan ice cream with a rat in it.
It looks more like a mouse than a rat to me.
Yeah,
Get
same.
the critters right. It's too small and improperly proportioned for a rat.
Hmm.
Are you questioning their gender?
I'm questioning their identification of rodentia.
All right, but
Yeah, that's a high voltage warning sign.
Yeah.
But that's not all.
Oh.
Because we also have
He's actually got a too retarded for TV.
Poe or No Gender Edition, Too Retarded for TV. Where I'll give you a gender that is real, but it's too retarded for you guys to think I made it up.
After a gender rat, there's
That's right. A Gender Rat did not make Too Retarded for TV. What? Did Jack say something?
No, I did.
Oh, all right. All right. And this week's gender is Cuppo Bun.
What?
I'm cursing the day your father and mother met.
Xenogender related to bunnies in cups, or being a little bunny in a cup, a silly little soft guy in a mug.
Oh my god.
I can't believe I actually predicted what this was referring to.
And here is the flag, which is kind of adorable.
Well, the middle
Effort-
of it's kind of adorable. The rest of it looks like some psychopath's nightmare washed, faded to pastels.
Credit where it's due, an effort was made. Now, granted, it's some autistic ass shit, but an
It's
effort
not a
was
good.
made.
Okay, I'll give you that. Some effort was made. It's not a good effort, but it was made.
I think what happened is they got a vaccine and it made them artistic.
Well, it kind of depends. It could be adorable unless the mug is full of boiling hot coffee.
Nah.
Then the bunny might not be having a good time. So Cuppo Bun, which is not an Irish man's name.
I mean, it
No,
might
that would be
be.
patio bud.
Oi,
Alright.
Shishosh, my name is Cupabon.
All right, and now on to our final article, which I will not tell you the name of, but it is by the same author as our previous article.
Oh god.
Which which one?
The migrant influencer one.
If you hear the loud noises in the background, I did not just shoot myself.
Where's that gun?
Where's that gun?
All right. In recent years, the issue of bullying in schools, particularly targeting LGBT plus students, has come under increasing scrutiny. While efforts to combat bullying have been made, it's clear that a significant portion of the problem stems from the attitudes and behaviors learned at home. Specifically,
Okay, you weren't bullied in school because of Leviticus. You were bullied because your parents named you Idioticus Duplicus.
or
You were
Vat Grail,
bullied in you were bullied in school because nobody loved you.
Including your
specifically,
parents. They gave you the name you hate because they regretted having you.
specifically,
You were bullied in school because you were a mistake.
Specifically, children raised by conservative Christian nationalists often perpetuate harmful ideologies and engage in bullying behavior toward their LGBTQ plus peers. This begs the
Want to know
question.
what I'd never heard of before 2024?
What?
Christian nationalism.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that is. Like what? You
Well,
just
it's-
want
As
the whole
far as
country to
I-
be.
As far as I can tell, a Christian nationalist is a Christian.
No, it's someone who is wildly nationalistic for the country of Christian.
Yeah. Let's see. This begs the question. Should the right to raise children be licensed by the government, contingent upon the character and values of the parents?
That sounds like a terrible idea.
1984 was not a how-to manual. Troopers is not a how-to movie.
This can only end well. The idea of licensing parents may seem radical at first, but when we consider
Seems insane.
the long-term consequences of allowing individuals with harmful beliefs to raise children, it becomes
Okay,
a
why don't you
compelling
just-
proposition.
Why don't you just say what you're thinking? It's not about what it's about what you want. You want to raise everybody else's kids. You want the government to do what you want. That and you want to exercise your will through the government onto everybody so that everybody does what you want. You're a little petty tyrant. That's all you've ever been. Just like every other socialist, just like every communist, just like every Democrat. You just want to impose your will onto literally everyone. That's all this is.
Yeah, people who don't agree with me should have no ability to influence any other person, especially the next generation.
Also, I like the fact that they think because of abortion laws, we're the ones who want to police people's bodies.
Yeah.
Okay. But when we
My
consider
desire
the,
to place your body ends when it's exactly when it stops affecting somebody else's life and body.
but when
You
we
want to chop
consider,
off your genitalia? I think you're stupid, but you do you.
but when we consider the long-term consequences of allowing individuals with harmful beliefs to raise children, it becomes a compelling proposition. Conservative
No, it
Christian-
doesn't. It's head and shoulders above letting somebody like you make the rules.
No, it says compelling proposition right there, Will. I mean, Moon.
Yeah.
It would save so much time if you just said, I want to be dictator and I want to tell everyone what to do and I want to make all of the laws and I want to be in charge and make all of the money and never have to do anything. And I want all of the benefits and none of the consequences. That author
It would
could
be
say
easy-
that instead, and it'd be a
It would
lot
be
easier.
easier-
And more effective.
Yeah, it'd be easier, more accurate, and more direct, but less likely to get people that even agree with him on board.
No,
I'm
and
actually
also
kind
this,
of behind this, to be honest with you. This whole idea, I think only nuclear families should be able to get a license.
Hammer, you're back.
Hey, there
Oh,
you
did you guys miss me?
go. Yeah.
Yes, you
No,
you
you're-
missed the third game.
You were
Oh.
gone for the third game.
Who
I
did you
wasn't
vote
sure.
What?
Cup of bun.
Oh, okay.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Oh,
Hammer,
that
you-
was the one that came in afterwards. It's too retarded for TV, so that wasn't part of the
Right.
game.
Oh.
Hammer,
Yeah,
you
no.
can't lurk
Girlfriend
in a
came home. You
stream
gotta-
when you're the guest.
No, I was only gone for a minute or two. The girlfriend came home. You gotta, kiss a little bit and
Nah,
all that kind of stuff.
I guess.
Like people have girlfriends. This is a fake excuse.
But
Girlfriends aren't real.
Yeah.
only licensed nuclear families. I agree with this.
And
Well,
also,
that's
this
not
is
what this author believes. So
this is absolutely not eugenics. You know, like telling people they can't reproduce because of their traits.
Yeah.
no, it's saying you can't reproduce because of your beliefs.
Conservative Christian nationalists, often driven by their religious convictions, instill in their children discriminatory attitudes towards those who are different from them, including LGBTQ individuals. These children
bless
grow. Thanks.
Every time you say that, I want.
These children grow up in environments where bigotry is normalized and even encouraged, leading to a cycle of intolerance that perpetuates for generations. By requiring prospective parents to obtain a license before having children, the government could assess their suitability based on their values, attitudes, and ability to provide a nurturing and inclusive environment for their children.
the,
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
the screening process is one question: are you a communist? If you say no, you're not allowed to have kids.
Pretty much.
So, what positions are you planning on doing? This process would not only help identify individuals who may perpetuate harmful ideologies, but also provide resources and support for those who demonstrate a commitment to raising children with empathy, compassion, and respect for diversity. I know the MAGA plan is to drive LGBT children to suicide, because with no living LGBT kids, there will be no living LGBT adult Americans. Even though this violates
Well, we'd
their...
have to get rid of the LGBTQ adults so that they stop grooming the kids into LGBTQ kids to turn into the adults to groom more kids. I mean, so wouldn't it make more sense for us to wipe out the adults than the kids?
I don't know. Maybe you can plan out the genocide.
There you go.
Sounds like a lot of work, and I'm lazy.
Even though this violates their own precept that our identities are poor choices, not innate parts of who we are as human beings, and that we are not people, just pathology.
Speaking of pathology,
You are people. You're stupid people. You're depressed people. You're mentally ill people.
Speaking of
people.
pathology, Moonshock never should have got cancer. I'm still mad at him for that.
Yeah. That was
Again,
a poor
you didn't
choice.
tell me beforehand. If you don't give me good advice before I take and do something, how am I supposed to follow the good advice? You're
Okay,
giving me
you've
the
got a
good
point.
advice after the cancer's there.
How
does that help?
You've got a point.
Yeah. Obviously, he had parents who were pro-cancer.
Obviously.
Yeah, parents are pro-cancer and friends that are pro-cancer. Of course, the good advice is avoid the cancer comes after I've got it.
Some people are so dedicated to cancer, it's their entire identity. Other people are like Virgos and Scorpios. It's like there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. But they know it works. A dead trans kid doesn't grow up to be a living trans voter.
I mean, that's true.
You know who else doesn't grow up to be a living trans voter? A kid that has a little bit of confusion in their teenage years or younger, and you just let them grow out of it. Because 99% of the time, they do grow out of it, and then they don't kill themselves as a teenager or an adult.
And also, I'd like to dispute this because a dead trans kid could very well grow up to be a Democrat voter.
But not a living Democrat voter.
No,
They didn't
but
say living, they just said voter.
No, it says
Yeah.
a dead trans kid doesn't grow up to be a living trans voter.
which is true. They grow up to be a Democrat voter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the right gets votes. By convincing people to kill themselves. I gotta say, if that
Vote for me, kill yourself.
I gotta say, if that's our strategy, that is a out of left field, man.
That also means that 41% is rookie numbers. We need to pump those numbers up.
Yeah.
Vote or die.
No, it's die, don't vote.
Yeah.
That's
Die.
how-
Then vote. Say die. Vote Democrat.
That's how the right gets votes. They've always used hate to get votes. They target BIPOC, Muslims, migrants. It was single mothers for a while. They don't care who they bully, who dies as a consequence of their words and actions, as long as it gets the vote, which it will if they succeed.
So they don't care
know what?
who dies, but like they're counting on those same people to vote for them. That doesn't.
They don't care if they die. They just care if they vote, even if they're dead.
Fair enough.
Well, the problem is that that only vote for Democrats, so that wouldn't work for the right either. And here's the thing: I don't have a lot of things that I care about. I don't have a lot of things that move me, but I actually care about every single time a person dies. And I can tell you for an absolute fact that there is nobody out there in all of history that has died because of something I said. With exception of Jesus Christ, and he died because of everything everybody ever did. So, I mean...
But that just means you got to try harder, Will. I mean, Moon.
Yeah. You're not pulling your weight here.
I'm
Hey,
sorry,
hey,
I'll
you-
get better.
How are we meant to get votes if you're not convincing people to kill themselves?
I mean, I got like
Because
20.
they're still only going to vote Democrat once they're dead.
I
How
got
does
like
that help us?
I got like 20 people to kill themselves last week. Okay. They don't care who they bully, who dies as a consequence of their words and actions, as long as it gets the vote, which it will if they succeed. The core of the problem isn't the politicians, it's the people. There are a large chunk of the population who need to hate someone, anyone, as long as it makes them feel superior.
See, this is
You heard
something
it
I
here
do.
first. Politicians are not people.
I was going to
Lizard
make the exact same point.
thing.
Uh,
That's those underground lizard folks ruling our country right there.
Just
I was
look
gonna
at
say that's one thing I agree with the author on. Yes, I agree. Politicians aren't people.
Just look at Oklahoma, where an innocent trans child was recently murdered by the children of Christian nationalists.
Wait,
And,
is that the trans child that overdosed either through intentionally or
Next.
accidentally on Prozac and Benadryl?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
next.
Next Benedict, I believe.
Correct.
The only person who killed Nex is Nex.
Yeah, she was murdered by starting a fight, losing it, and then the next day taking too much Benadryl, which apparently is a method of murder now.
Too much Benadryl and Prozac, and I've talked to some idiots online that don't understand that you can take literally any supplement and over-the-counter medication that you can get at the grocery store, and if you take enough of it, you will overdose and die.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's baby aspirin. It may take several bottles because it's baby aspirin. You can overdose on baby aspirin and die.
Look,
Benadryl,
I've
you
tried
take enough of it, it'll put you down.
I've tried Next Benedict a few times. It's actually pretty tasty. I do encourage people to give it a try.
Yeah, Next
Scary.
Next Benedict is just a Bond villain name.
It's I think it's like it's like sauce, and you've got the smoked salmon. It's really good.
Yeah. The kid was murdered by bullies making them overdose on Benadryl the next day.
Yeah.
The kid was murdered by what, himself? Yeah, that's
And Six is saying too much water will kill you, which is true.
Yep.
yes.
There was a competition called Hold Your Wee for a Wee, where You had to literally not go to the bathroom for long enough to win a Nintendo Wii, and someone died from that.
Yeah. And there was also this guy named Matthew Perry.
Hmm.
Yeah. In the
The
previous
oxygen's a good thing. You need oxygen to live, right? You know, you do
Yeah.
too much
I
oxygen.
mean, love is like
kill you.
oxygen. Get too much and you're high, not enough and you die.
I learned that from a band.
Yeah. It was pretty sweet of them to teach us that.
I don't know what song that is.
Love is Like Oxygen is a song by The Sweet.
Oh. That I like Fox on the Run.
Yeah, that's a good song too.
It's an older tune.
And so is Ballroom Blitz.
Yep. In the previous 3 elections, Presidents Obama and Biden didn't carry a vote in a single county. Oklahoma is the only state in the country to have every single county vote red for the last 3 presidential elections. And they're so proud of that too.
That means they're basically Hitler.
That's a bit misleading. As I said, carry a vote. There's basically pointing out that every county in the state is red, but they're trying to give the impression that nobody in the state voted Democrat ever.
Newark has voted blue for 24 years in a row.
And the worst part of that is that there are people that will interpret it that way.
So the implication here is, you live in Oklahoma, it's illegal to fuck. This is the same state that has been pushing for the castration of sex offenders, because their justice system is so backwards they can't even conceive of trying to actually rehabilitate them.
There is no rehabilitation of
I'm not invited to move
offenders.
to
The
Oklahoma.
recidivism rate is so impossibly high. Nobody ever gets better.
No. I'm learning. I've got to move to Oklahoma. This place sounds awesome.
Also,
Yeah,
if you get sex offenders to become trans, they castrate themselves.
There you go.
See, I've got the notion I got a real simple thing for sex offenders is like you castrate them, and then depending on the nature of their crime beyond that, let's say that they raped a child, then once they've recovered from the castration, you kill them.
You better make sure you're right. If it turns out to be
yeah,
whoopsie, then you get castrated. How about that?
Well, this is
An
is
Uno
where
reversi card.
yeah, I fully believe in the death penalty, but I think that when you get to that level of penalty, you have to be dealing with incontrovertibly true. You're not dealing with convincing a jury beyond a reasonable doubt based on circumstantial evidence. You're dealing with direct, indisputable evidence, possibly multiple witnesses, video, genetic evidence. You're dealing with something that can't be just as like 5 weeks later, oopsie.
Yeah.
I mean, I became somewhat less for the death penalty recently, and the reason for it was the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Because I was thinking, if someone this obviously innocent had a possibility of being found guilty of murder, then I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that you see there, the only parts of that was the justice system not functioning as designed is one, malicious prosecution by the prosecutor, two, the fact that after the prosecutor broke multiple laws, violated Kyle's rights in trial, lied to the judge and the jury, etc., it did not get dismissed with prejudice, and then being sanctioned professionally and legally, it was still allowed to go to the jury, who made the right decision.
I think there's a difference. Like, I'm philosophically in favor of the death penalty. Like, as a concept, I have no problem with it. It's just that you need to have a very, very secure justice system if you're going to have that as a sentence option. And
yeah, I think it's got to be on the table, but you have to limit it because of, if for no other reason than the structure of our justice system, that is, I would rather see 10 guilty people go free than one innocent person be convicted. It's got to be one, the most egregious crimes, and two, the most incontrovertible evidence. Because if you've got the egregious crime but not the incontrovertible evidence, then you need to go with the lesser penalty, just in the off chance that, despite the best efforts, but I look at it as like, okay, you got a dozen witnesses, you got video, and there is no defense. Even the thing is, even if Kyle Rittenhouse had been convicted, I would have taken it off the table on the basis of there is a rational defense and self-defense. Even if the jury's not convinced beyond a reasonable, if the jury is convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that it wasn't self-defense, the fact that it's a rational defense in the circumstance would require taking it off the table. But let's say you've got a video of somebody walking into a Walmart with a shotgun and killing a dozen people. Just random strangers at Walmart. Okay, death penalty should be on the table. You got no doubt who did it. There is no set of circumstances that warrants them randomly targeting civilians in public. So you've got an egregious crime and incontrovertible evidence.
I don't know.
Yeah, explain January 6th.
Even if you set, reasonable rules to go with it, it could still be abused.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like
January 6th.
The
The only
implementation.
person who died on January 6th was killed by law enforcement. Therefore, unless you are going to try
And what was his
and
penalty?
convince,
What was his penalty?
nothing.
How long is he get? Yeah, exactly. So
And
yeah, the law
that's
is
something
perfect.
that bugs me more is law enforcement should be held. They should have the same rights of self-defense, and they should have the same rights of being held innocent until proven guilty, but they should be held to a higher standard of responsibility. And the minimum penalty for a law enforcement officer breaking the law should be the maximum
Hey,
penalty for somebody else breaking the law.
what's
You're-
this
you're
article
agreeing
about?
with me.
It's been so fucking long since it started. I don't remember what this article's about anymore.
I think it was about the gallows at January 6th.
People in Oklahoma killing LGBTQ folks to get votes.
But that's not the only reason. Oklahoma voters think LGBTQ persons are all groomers and pedophiles, trying to stigmatize
No.
them.
You think they're all groomers and pedophiles because of an outrage against groomers and pedophiles, and you're equating them.
No, she asked every person in Oklahoma.
No, that she didn't say she asked everybody in Oklahoma, so I can't buy into that. No, she said I asked everybody in Oklahoma, and they all equate. Okay, I'd have to take her at her
Oh, the
word.
article.
Trying to stigmatize them that way will lead to more false allegations, more wrongful imprisonment, and, if the Sooners have their way, the castration of the people they're committing cultural genocide against. Of course.
Actually, if we make them unable to breed, that would be pretty
Oh,
much
the
actual
article.
Of course, this should come as no surprise from the state that murdered the Osage and burned Black Tulsa to the ground. But that's the point, really. We have a cultural problem, not just a political one. There's a significant portion of the American population that is filled with hate, and they are raising their children to be just as hateful and bigoted as they are. We have to stop this.
Well, now that you've admitted that you have to stop yourselves, maybe take a look at how other people are doing it.
Critics of this proposal may argue that it infringes on individuals' reproductive rights and freedoms. However, the goal is not to restrict individuals from having children, but rather to ensure that all children have the opportunity to grow up in environments that promote acceptance, tolerance, and mutual respect.
Environment you want.
Yeah, It's like it's not to do this, but it really is.
So it is about infringing on their reproductive rights and freedoms, but it would have a good outcome, maybe?
But it's doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
Your kids
it's,
are not your
Exactly.
kids.
this is good eugenics.
It's for the
Licensing-
greater good.
Licensing parents would not be about policing reproductive choices, but rather about safeguarding the well-being of children and breaking the cycle of bigotry.
It
Anybody
would be
think of the
about
children?
police. So it would be about policing First Amendment rights and opinions rather than just having children. Eh.
Licensing parenting could have broader societal benefits beyond reducing bullying and discrimination. Children raised in nurturing and inclusive environments are more likely to develop into empathetic, socially responsible adults who contribute positively to their communities.
And
is
what do they
someone-
grow up to when raised by the likes of you?
Is someone like eating peanut butter in the background or some shit?
We don't have any
I'm
white women
relatively
here.
sure I hear like someone eating peanut butter.
No white women and no puppies here.
By investing in the upbringing of future generations, we can create a more equitable and harmonious society for all.
This
Of course-
insert for the sole purposes of annoying Jack.
Of course, implementing a system of parental licensing would require careful consideration and collaboration between government agencies, social services, and community organizations.
Government
wouldn't-
agencies have no lawful say in your opinions, your words, your actions. And all careful consideration would require you to totally spike this into the dustbin of history as a violation of all aspects of First Amendment rights and civil liberties in the U.S. Get bent.
If anyone's good at judging people, it's government agencies. It would involve
We're going to
develop-
shoot your dog and put you in jail, and we'll come up with a reason why later.
It would involve developing standardized criteria for assessing parental suitability, providing education and support for prospective parents, and ensuring transparency and accountability in the licensing process.
Are you a communist? Yes, no. If yes, will you raise your child to be a communist? Yes, good. You can have children. If no, are you so you're not a communist? Are you willing to raise your children to be a communist? If yes, you can have children. If no, go to re-education camp.
Also, I would love to see this be in effect when Trump becomes president.
Oh, could you see there if Trump had this kind of power?
Yeah, as I've said multiple times, the left has no forethought whatsoever.
No.
And
The
there are
prob-
some people I've told on both sides, very good people on both sides. And I'm not talking about those white supremacists. They should be condemned unequivocally. But there were some pretty decent people on both sides of the argument. Of
The
people
prevalence
who
of,
disagree can't have children.
the prevalence of bullying and discrimination among children raised by conservative Christian nationalists underscores the need for a reevaluation of our approach to parenting. While the idea
You know
of
what?
license
I have never bullied anyone my entire life. I want to bully the author of this article.
see
I
na-
really
now-
want to bully the author of the article.
I want to bully Will right now. He keeps responding to every fucking sentence.
I
He has
wondered how long it was going to
quadrupled-
take you to
he
respond.
has quadrupled the length of this fucking article. Because
I'll
he
be quiet
feels
for at
the
least 2
urge to
seconds. Jack.
respond to every fucking sentence.
If you stop ranting, I'll be quiet for at least 2 sentences.
Now, Jack, you're bullying Will, which means you never should have been born. Okay. While the idea of licensing parents may seem controversial, it offers a potential solution to breaking the cycle of bigotry and intolerance that persists in our society. By prioritizing the well-being of children and promoting inclusive parenting practices, we can create a brighter and more equitable future for generations to come.
So, Will,
There.
what were you saying about the death penalty?
Anyway. Please
And,
end this. I need to sleep tonight.
No,
And,
you don't.
there
Sleep
are
is weakness entering your body.
There are 3 comments on this article, and some are more polite than others, but all of them are saying this is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
You know, you got a really dumb idea when everybody on even Medium is saying it's dumb.
Is that the author? Cindy
That's the
Steinberg?
author. Cindy
Yeah.
Steinberg.
Wow.
She, her, which on Medium means it's a 50% chance that she's got a dick.
And I think this is also the author of the NPC article.
I don't think so, because I remember trying to look up the author of the NPC article, and they were... Oh, no, NPC article, maybe. Sorry, I was thinking the third article, and they were black.
Yeah, there it is. Embracing NPC pride.
There we go.
Yeah. So,
Well, the author's an NPC. That explains a lot.
so I'm following this person now.
Of course you are. I can't wait for the next article from this moron.
I mean, I was gonna have another, but I thought 3 by the same author was overdoing it.
A little.
Yeah, gotta spread them out. No more than one a week for this author.
Well,
Who does
you
she write
do.
for?
What'd you say, Hammer?
Who does she write for? Where is this
Medium.
article?
Medium.
This is on Medium? Okay.
This is all
Oh.
Medium.
All the Frosted's articles are Medium.
Yep.
The biggest disappointment is he's never read Pregnant Goku as one of them.
Yeah. I wonder if that article is still up on the site.
Braniel assures that it is.
Okay. Cool.
Well, Braniel's considered an authoritative source around here, so I mean,
Pregnant Goku.
And go cool.
that commentary wins the internet for today. Or whenever. Oh, wow. Back in 2022. Interesting read. I like the part about Pregnant Goku.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I had for tonight, gentlemen. So, but what do you say we drag this out for Jack's sake?
Good night,
here.
everyone.
No.
Good night.
Just gotta take a moment to shill my co-host and guest. So, I Like Boobs has Crippers United on his channel Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Where he plays games immensely inferior to Super Seducer.
Yeah.
That is
But more interactive.
Let's see. Moon has his Twitch channel linked in the description, where he plays games that aren't as good as Super Seducer. And his GoFundMe for his cancer treatment is linked in the chat and the description, I think.
And if you want to throw a comment in there about how Terry doesn't give the good advice about avoiding cancer in time to avoid the cancer, you certainly can.
And would you like to show your good friend Will?
Yeah, he's a semi-hoser from Michigan. He's got game streams and art streams 5 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays, and tomorrow's stream should be an art stream.
All right. Let's see. Terry is on Hammers and Mr. Adams Minions nights. He's on Johnny Hellcat streams. He's on Tears Midnight streams. He's on Crippers United. He's on Six is Sober streams. If you think of a stream, he'll be in it.
With the exceptions of Crowder, The Blaze.
Yeah.
I'm
not on the Daily Wire. I'm not part of Planet
Daily
Media.
Wire and mine
Not
and
on the
Will's
Young Turks.
hasn't shown on those yet.
I haven't been on The View.
All right. And Hammer,
that would be fun.
Hammer, anything you want to show?
Oh, just the Wednesday show, 9:00 Eastern on Minions of the Zoo.
All right. Okay. Well, that's all I have for tonight. So We should be back next week at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, everyone.
Bye.